After parting ways with Yoon Hwan, Jaein tries to push everything that happened out of her mind. Even though she still can't explain why she keeps responding to his thoughts, she decides that she has much bigger problems to deal with. The very next day, Jaein receives devastating news. The CEO of Lumibella Cosmetics files a massive compensation claim against her over the abuse of power scandal that destroyed her public image. Unable to believe what she's reading, Jaein immediately rushes to her former agency, expecting them to handle the lawsuit as they always had in the past. Instead, her former CEO calmly explains that the agency has no legal responsibility anymore. He reminds Jae that her exclusive contract had already expired before the controversy became public. Since she chose not to renew it, every legal claim and financial penalty now belongs to her alone. Jaein is left speechless. She argues that she represented the company for years and expected them to stand by her during the hardest moment of her career. But the CEO simply points to the contract and tells her everything is written clearly in black and white. He even suggests that if she needs money, she should ask her mother for help. Jaein immediately realizes that his concern isn't genuine. She's furious that someone who benefited from her success for years is now abandoning her without hesitation. Refusing to show any weakness, she tells him she doesn't need his fake sympathy. As she's leaving, she unexpectedly runs into Yejin. The agency proudly introduces Yejin as its newest actress and begins showing her around the office that Jaein once called home. Watching someone else take her place is painful. For a brief moment, Jaein feels as though her entire life has been replaced. But instead of breaking down, she straightens her shoulders and looks confidently at everyone around her. She tells them to remember today because it's the last time they'll ever see her looking this miserable. With those final words, Jaein walks out of the building determined to rebuild her career on her own. Meanwhile, Yoon Hwan continues working despite the disciplinary investigation hanging over him. Instead of worrying about his own future, he focuses on helping one of his patients who has finally decided to admit the truth about the violent crime he committed. The man is overwhelmed with guilt and apologizes repeatedly for ruining another person's life. Yoon Hwan reassures him that accepting responsibility is the first step toward changing. He explains that simply burying painful emotions never helps anyone heal. People need to face those emotions honestly before they can move forward. After leaving the prison, Yoon Hwan heads straight to meet the victim involved in the same case. The victim is still consumed by anger and wants nothing more than revenge. Rather than telling him to suppress those feelings, Yoon Hwan encourages him to acknowledge them first. He explains that pretending not to be angry will only make the pain last longer. Only after accepting those emotions can someone truly begin healing. Although neither man is ready to forgive, Yoon Hwan quietly continues guiding them toward closure, believing that both the victim and the offender deserve the chance to move forward with their lives. Later, one of Yoon Hwan's colleagues approaches him after hearing about the upcoming disciplinary committee. His colleague expresses concern, warning that many people at the hospital are already assuming the worst before the investigation has even begun. Yoon Hwan simply smiles. He says that no matter what decision the committee makes, he doesn't regret trying to help his patients the way he believed was right. Even if it costs him his career, he would make the same choices again because he became a psychiatrist to help people heal, not to protect his own reputation. Meanwhile, Jaein continues searching for any opportunity to return to acting. Although almost every door has closed, she refuses to give up. She knows rebuilding her reputation won't happen overnight, but she's determined to prove that she deserves another chance. Neither Jae nor Yoon Hwan realizes that while they're both fighting completely different battles, their lives are slowly being drawn closer together by the mysterious connection neither of them can explain. Determined not to let her career end this way, Jaein continues searching for opportunities wherever she can find them. Even though countless people have turned their backs on her, she refuses to stop chasing her dream. After hearing about an acting workshop being organized by a respected director, Jaein immediately signs up, hoping it might become her chance to prove herself again. When she arrives, she notices that many of the other actors recognize her. Instead of welcoming her, they begin whispering behind her back, questioning why someone surrounded by scandals would even show up. Jaein hears every comment but keeps walking without responding. The instructor explains that everyone attending the workshop will be pushed to their emotional limits. Acting isn't just about memorizing lines, it requires understanding a character's deepest emotions and expressing them honestly. Throughout the exercises, Jaein throws herself completely into every performance. Despite everything she's been through, she refuses to let anyone see her give up. As the training continues, the instructor notices something different about her. Unlike many of the other actors, Jaein isn't pretending to understand pain. She's living through it. Every expression, every tear, and every moment of silence feels genuine because she's drawing from her own experiences. Although the instructor doesn't openly praise her, it's obvious that her performance leaves a strong impression. Meanwhile, Yoon Hwan prepares for the disciplinary committee, investigating his treatment methods. Before entering the meeting, several colleagues quietly wish him good luck. Others, however, believe his career is already over. Inside the hearing, the committee questions every decision Yoon Hwan made while treating his patient. They argue that encouraging patients to confront painful emotions instead of suppressing them is dangerous and unprofessional. Yoon Hwan respectfully disagrees. He explains that forcing people to ignore emotions like anger, guilt, and resentment only buries the problem deeper. Real healing begins when patients acknowledge those emotions and learn healthy ways to deal with them. Although he calmly answers every question, the committee members remain unconvinced. They argue that intentions alone cannot excuse the outcome of the case. While Yoon Hwan is defending himself, Jaein continues pushing herself through the acting exercises. One emotional scene requires her to imagine losing everything she once loved. Without even trying, tears begin rolling down her face. The room falls completely silent. Even the other actors, who had been judging her earlier, are surprised by how real her performance feels. After the exercise ends, the instructor quietly approaches Jaein. Instead of talking about technique, he simply asks if she's doing all right. Jaein forces a smile and tells him she's fine. But deep down, she knows every emotion she expressed came from her own life rather than the script. Back at the hospital, the disciplinary hearing finally comes to an end. Although no final decision is announced yet, Yoon Hwan leaves knowing that his future remains uncertain. Still, he has no regrets. He believes he treated his patient with sincerity, and no committee can change that belief. As evening approaches, both Jaein and Yoon Hwan return home emotionally exhausted. Neither of them realizes they're fighting similar battles. One is struggling to rebuild a ruined career. The other is trying to protect a career that's slowly falling apart. Even though they're walking different paths, the mysterious bond connecting them continues growing stronger. Just as Jaein reaches her apartment building, she pauses for a moment. She can't explain why, but she suddenly feels an overwhelming wave of sadness wash over her. At that exact same moment, Yoon Hwan receives an urgent call from home. Sensing that something is wrong, he immediately rushes back, unaware that another heartbreaking night is about to begin. As Yoon Hwan rushes home, he immediately senses something is wrong. The atmosphere inside the house is tense, and his young niece looks frightened. The housekeeper explains that his sister has locked herself away and refuses to speak to anyone. Yoon Hwan gently comforts Ha-yeol before asking the housekeeper to take her into another room so she doesn't have to witness what is happening. He quietly enters his sister's room and finds her sitting alone, completely overwhelmed by her emotions. She has suffered another breakdown after being reminded of the accident that changed all of their lives. Through tears, she asks why she has to keep living with the pain, while everyone else seems to be moving on. Yoon Hwan kneels beside her and patiently tries to calm her down, reminding her that Ha-yeol still needs her mother, and that she isn't facing everything alone. But his sister can't accept his words. She breaks down crying, saying that every time she sees Jaein, all of the painful memories come flooding back. She blames Jae-in for destroying her life and can't understand why Yoon Hwan continues defending her. Yoon Hwan quietly explains that what happened in the past was a tragic accident and that carrying hatred forever won't change anything. His sister immediately shakes her head. To her, there is no such thing as forgiveness. The emotional scars are still as painful as they were on the day everything happened. Seeing her in so much pain, Yoon Hwan's expression fills with guilt. In a heartbreaking moment, he tells her that if someone had to suffer that day, he wishes it had been him instead. He says he would have gladly taken her place if it meant she could have lived a normal and happy life. Hearing those words only makes his sister cry even harder. Although neither of them says it aloud, it's clear that both siblings have been carrying unbearable guilt for years. Meanwhile, Jae-in continues thinking about everything that's happened between her and Yoon Hwan. The mysterious connection has become impossible for her to ignore. Every time she's around him, she somehow hears thoughts he never speaks or feels emotions that don't belong to her. At first, she convinced herself it was simply stress. Then she thought it might be hallucinations. But after everything that's happened, she slowly begins accepting that the connection is real. She quietly reflects on every strange moment they've shared, remembering all the times she answered questions before Yoon Hwan even spoke them aloud. Instead of feeling frightened, she becomes curious. She starts wondering why the two of them are connected in the first place and what happened to create such an impossible bond. At the same time, Yoon Hwan sits alone after finally getting his sister to rest. Exhausted, he can't stop thinking about Jae-in either. He remembers all the moments when she reacted to his unspoken thoughts and begins questioning whether there could actually be something beyond ordinary explanation linking them together. Although he doesn't believe in supernatural things, he can't deny what he's experienced with his own eyes. As night falls, both Jae-in and Yoon Hwan find themselves thinking about each other without even realizing it. Neither of them has any answers. One is searching for a way to rebuild her broken life. The other is desperately trying to hold his family together while protecting the people he loves. Their lives couldn't be more different, yet an invisible connection continues pulling them closer together. The episode ends by leaving both of them with the same unanswered question. Why can Jae-in hear Yoon Hwan's thoughts and emotions? And what really happened in the past that connected their lives long before either of them realized it? With those mysteries still unsolved, Episode 3 comes to an emotional end, setting up even bigger revelations in the next episode.